Alright, so just to make it nice and clear right away so that I don't have to say it again. No, I will not be talking about Kanye in this video. If that's what you wanted from me, then I suggest that you go ahead and watch one of the now thousands of videos on YouTube about exactly that. Also, no jokes in this one. I know you're probably expecting a few of those, but I'm sick of making them. And this is a very sort of serious video essay anyways. And so I've written exactly none of them into my little script here. So let's see how all this goes. Little Peep died from drugs. Picasso was a commie. Mozart wrote letters about his own poop to his lady cousin. Einstein was also a commie, I think. Michael Jackson. They'll tell you that what you have to do is to simply separate the art from the artist. To ignore them, really. To act as though the artist doesn't actually have all that much to do with the art. After all, they're only the artist. However, what you personally make of their art is completely up to you. And it's completely in your own hands in that way. That when you listen or look or taste the work of another, you shouldn't then go ahead and share your appreciation onwards to them. But instead go ahead and pat yourself on the back for all the work that you did indulging and then making your mind up about it. Because it's not the artist that matters, but the art. They'll tell you it's chill, so don't worry, you can still bump into college dropout on your stroll to temple. Okay, excuse that one time. Granted, it is all an understandable view to have. It's a nice, well-rounded answer to such a moral quandary. You know, to act like the quandary doesn't much exist in the first place. And to be fair, it's exactly what I have been doing with the quadratic equation, for example, all these years, and that's worked out fine for me so far. A lot of the time, everything in life can feel like a discussion ready to be had, set up only really to just rack your brain a little. As though all the beauty in this world has to come shrouded in a psychological fog of discussion and debate. And so naturally, as both the oppressor and the oppressed in this scenario, we'd all like to have art as a sort of outlet, an escape from worrying about all that. Somewhere else where opinions go to die in the pursuit of experiencing something beautiful together. Where you can just enjoy something for once. This is in a lot of ways what I can appreciate about this argument and the line of thinking behind it. At the end of the day, it's coming from a deep-rooted desire to appreciate. An excuse to look past the flaws of another to focus solely in on the good. I want to be able to like the things that I like without a sense of societal shame pressuring me as a result. It's only a little bit of art, man. I'm not straight gooning on you right now, so why did you gotta act like it? But on the other hand, it's just so easy. It's too clean an answer, isn't it? Like, what exactly are you asking me through the blanket statement of to separate? And what exactly do you hope to gain from it as a result? Am I supposed to go about looking at a piece of art and forgetting about the artist that artwork came from? How is that actually supposed to make sense? Like, what if the artist doesn't want you to do that? What if the song being played was hypothetically to be called I Love Said Artist? Okay, no more, I'm serious. But what then? And hell, even if that's not the case and the artist himself is only trying to portray a notion straight from the hands of God, which just so happened to come to his mind one day, would that artist then expect people to look past the passion that masterfully brought this minuscule inkling of an idea to life? Are we all supposed to just not think about the work that they did for us? Are you supposed to just not think about all the work that they did for you? It's funny, when you only think about what you're asking of people here for only a second, you'll pretty quickly realize that what you're asking of people here is just not normal. I mean, why do we feel the need to put a painter's name beside a painting in a gallery? Is it possibly to do with how all these things, a story, a mentality, and reasoning behind a piece of work, bring with them almost an expansion on top of the piece of work itself? Where did this art come from, and why did anyone feel the need to put it right in front of you? Well, all this is the vital role the artists themselves play in their artwork. Because there is more to art than just the beauty of the thing. You know, it's also personal, and that's sort of the point. Nature is beautiful, and so are the stars, and so is the masterpieces of an artist. Though without the artist, it's still beautiful, but it's just not art anymore. And sure, yeah, maybe those things don't necessarily act as an explanation, nor should they. It's still true that what you take from a piece of art is your own. That doesn't mean the art itself is yours too, though. See, all that separation talk begins to get a little bit tricky after a while when you begin to wonder questions like, what if the artist didn't mean that? What if there has to be something intentional about art and the message that you got from it wasn't intentional? You can maybe argue that they failed to properly portray what they did mean, but that still doesn't make your perspective right. Think about it, why would you even go out of your way to name something that you don't even care to label? Clearly there has to be something inseparable between the two, between what you want to make and what you get. It seems that no matter which way you try and escape it, but the process that brought you that art is fundamental to it. The artist must first have a perspective if they're ever gonna change yours, right? Without context, even so blatant as a name, art just doesn't work as well. Well, the boss told us to take all the labels off of every painting in the gallery, but now I forget where they all went, so I've just been using them as name tags and just been handing them out to Chinese tourists whenever the boss is out. But now everybody's visiting the art gallery for the Chinese tourist exhibit, and I'm the boss. Yeah, not so great in reality now, is it? And not to go thinking too deep into this right now, but I think that art is one of the only ways that something can truly belong to someone. It's why monks go and make sand art just to destroy it afterwards as a form of practicing disattachment. Art is one thing that an artist can truly claim as their own, and I think that that's one of the things that's so great about it. That art is part of them. How the world looks at them and how they want it to be looked at. And I know I said I wouldn't before, but it's kind of just the perfect example, so shut the fuck up. Say Kanye didn't make Graduation. That it was made just not by Ye. Say it wasn't part of his legendary discography nearly 2 decades in length. Part of the iconic work done by one particular artist. I'm genuinely curious if you'd enjoy it as much, because I know I wouldn't. Sure, I still heavy with it anyways. You know, I'm not going to temple anytime soon, so that's not my problem. But I also like the fact that 2008 Kanye made it. That makes it extra special to me in a way. That it belongs to him in my perspective. But I'll move on from that now. I don't know exactly what my goal is by making this argument. It just pisses me off. Convincing ourselves that we in any way can separate art from the artist. I guess that in reality what you've got to just be able to do is accept the world we live in. The world that all these bad people also live in is itself a little bit goose. It's not clean, it's not handy dandy, and as sure as shit isn't good. It's a little fucked up out here, man. I mean, how else could you explain a dude who made all these songs about pursuing wealth and riches, then going ahead and hating the Jew? Okay, that's actually the last time, I promise. I think that maybe it's about time we took a clearer look at ourselves as the part in this whole mess which we are, and ask ourselves another question. If we can so easily mutilate art of its context and rip it of its past just so that all the pretty colors can better make us happy right now, if the process really doesn't matter as long as we're happier with the result, well then let me ask you this. How come we don't separate the fart from the fartist? This does make sense, by the way, so just listen, okay? While art is typically the product of some person we personally want to like as they resonate heavily with us, a fart, on the other hand, well, pretty much the exact opposite of art, insofar as that it's not very pretty or special or introspective or whatever, can very much still be the exact same thing insofar as that someone has to make it, you know? It's just as much a product of that person, just not as good of a one. A bad one, arguably. But doesn't that just come down to the booty hole it came from? Which I'm not sure how that equivalates into the metaphor at hand. I just kind of like booty holes. Then, if we feel the need to alleviate those things that are good to be purely good beyond the virtue of the creator themselves, if we truly hold this power over our own psychology, then why don't we feel the need to do the fair thing, something we will all very much be better off from? Every time someone lets out even a little stinker, we're so quick to judge and blame and shun and most importantly, label, as again both the oppressor and the oppressed at times, and not blame a fart on the fartist. Because why? Well, because we don't want to. And that is exactly where this line of thinking falls flat. Exposing the true nature of such a statement as to separate the art from the artist, to be the selfish choice to think less, wrapped up in this nice bundle of philosophical nothingness. It's a nothing burger. We're asked to strip away the person to better paint ourselves a picture of somebody else's painting. And we want to do all that for no other reason than to simply have an easier time liking it ourselves. Sure, you can just enjoy the art and ignore the crazy cousin this psycho orphan ginger or whatever behind the damn thing, except you don't, because that's not human nature. And so all that is a half-assed apologetic quote to throw in the face of the hoes whenever they see your Spotify playlist. I just can't stop anymore. Not to mention the fact that that's not even art if that's how you're trying to think about it. You know, if you don't pick up on any sense of expression communicated through it, then what's the point? Why else is it even in front of you right now? What is our true nature? And why do we need art? If I had to put it simply, it's to communicate something deeper than conversation alone can do. Which honestly reflects pretty nicely onto our own nature, doesn't it? All that and farting a bunch is really what we're all about, isn't it? So yeah, maybe instead of separating, you have to just be able to accept the world that you live in to be a tougher cookie to crumble and not so easily packaged as the picture you're painting yourself of. Except that just because someone's evil or corrupted or at the very least very f***ed up, that doesn't necessarily mean they are necessarily dumb or ignorant or useless. No, of course things are deeper than that. Of course bad things are out there and not all of it is a flaw or a mistake, but an intentional intention, a decision people consciously make their own choice to pursue. Normal people. At the end of the day, I don't think that art can be much morally good or bad on its own. That doesn't make sense. But obviously an artist can use their craft as a vessel for such an intention, as goodness or badness or whatever. Which all begs the question of, can't a bad person be a good artist? Can't a bad person do a good thing? And vice versa? Well, I guess that's just your own question to answer for yourself. As long as you actually answer the damn question this time. Because if you say you just separate the art from the artist, then you're lying. Without acknowledging that there is something personally purposeful to both you and the artist, you don't have anything worthwhile at all. Hitler's paintings were notoriously uninspired, and while I've actually never read any of his writings personally, I've heard that they're not great neither. He was bad and so was his art, which is nice. I mean, for me specifically, not 1940s European Jews. But when you turn to the likes of Michelangelo or Marx or whoever and ask the same question, try to compare them themselves to their artwork, I think it becomes evidently clear that really they're just all human beings. Incredible ones at that, but still capable of both good or evil like the rest of us. And just extra capable of being loud about it too. So until we live in a world where we can just all collectively move on anytime someone's turd tanking in the stall over, after a morning extra large Macca's black coffee, fish sandwich breakfast combo gets a little bit out of hand, that instead of laughing and filming a video to show all your friends and then telling your friends to come just so that you can harass and bang on the door of the stall, until that day comes, I refuse to see the artist as anything but integral to the story. Quite frankly, what the story behind their art has always been about. Because you can't separate the fart from the fartist. In conclusion, I leave you here one final message. I just came up with the name and went from there. This entire video was one giant waste of time. But isn't that just the nature of all video essays anyways?